When the world feels chaotic, where do you place your trust? Welcome to HisTime365. Today is day 215, and we're reading Isaiah 19 to 21, where God speaks over troubled nations and reminds us that true security is found in Him alone. The Burdens of Nations. Lessons from Isaiah 19 through 21. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the troubles of the world around you? The book of Isaiah gives us a glimpse into the burdens of nations, revealing not just their struggles, but also the hope that can emerge from chaos. In chapters 19 through 21, Isaiah speaks of Egypt, Cush, and Babylon, each facing their own challenges, yet intertwined with God's overarching plan. Starting with Isaiah 19, we see a prophecy concerning Egypt. The land, once a powerful kingdom known for its might and influence, is depicted as being in turmoil. The Lord stirs up a spirit of division among the Egyptians, leading them to turn against one another. It's a vivid picture of a society in chaos, where trust is broken and conflict reigns. In the midst of this turmoil, God promises a time when Egypt will recognize their need for Him. They will cry out to Him, and He will send them a Savior. Isaiah 19:20. This prophecy doesn't just highlight Egypt's need for salvation. It also foreshadows a future where Egypt, along with Assyria and Israel, will be united under God's reign. Imagine a scenario where nations that once stood against each other come together in peace. This unity is a beautiful image of what God can do when hearts are turned toward Him. It's like in our own lives, where conflicts at work or home can be resolved when we seek understanding and connection rather than division. Next, Isaiah shifts his focus to Cush in chapter 20. Here we find a message of judgment against Cush, a land that was often seen as a place of refuge and strength. Isaiah walks around barefoot and without his outer garments as a sign of how the proud will be humbled. This symbolic act serves as a reminder of the vulnerability we all face, especially when we rely on our own strength instead of acknowledging God's sovereignty. In our modern context, think about times when we've put too much faith in our careers or finances. Just like Cush, we might find ourselves stripped of security if we forget to lean on God. Then, moving into chapter 21, we see Isaiah's burden for Babylon. Babylon is described as a fallen city, a place that once boasted of its grandeur, now facing a significant decline. The watchman on the wall sees the approach of an enemy and is commanded to warn the people of the impending challenges. This imagery can resonate with us today. It's a call to be vigilant about the influences that surround us. Just as the watchman did not ignore the signs, we too must be aware of the spiritual and moral battles we face in our lives, whether it's in our digital spaces or in our relationships. Isaiah also speaks of Edom and Arabia in this chapter, portraying the inevitability of God's judgment on nations that oppose Him. There's a stark contrast between the impending judgment and the hope that lies in seeking God. Just as the watchman cried out, we are called to be watchful in our own lives, seeking God's guidance in our decisions and rooting ourselves in His Word. In our everyday lives, these ancient prophecies can still teach us valuable lessons. For instance, at work, how often do we notice conflict arising from misunderstandings? Like the Egyptians, we can choose to seek reconciliation rather than division. In our families, we may face challenges that seem insurmountable. Acknowledging our vulnerabilities and seeking God's intervention can turn those challenges into opportunities for growth. Financially, many of us chase security in our bank accounts, much like Cush relied on its historical strength. However, true security comes from trusting in God's provision. And in our digital lives, with the constant bombardment of information, let's remember to hold on to the truth and not get swept away by the chaos around us. Boldly proclaiming in our hearts, God is in control, can transform our burdens into blessings. How can we apply the lessons of unity and reconciliation from Isaiah 19 in our relationships today? In what areas of your life do you feel most vulnerable, like Cush? How can you seek God's strength in those areas? What does being a watchman look like in your life, and how can you remain vigilant against negative influences? How do you interpret the idea of nations coming together under God's reign in today's world? Thanks so much for joining me today for HisTime365. Remember, today's reading is Isaiah 19 through 21, so be sure to spend some time with those verses during your quiet time. Tomorrow, we'll be diving into Isaiah 22 through 25, so feel free to read ahead if you like to prepare. If you enjoyed this time together, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so that you never miss a day on this journey. I'll see you back right here tomorrow for day 216. Until then, stay encouraged and thank you for giving God His time today.